Hiya guys, it's Raya and welcome back to another video. I know at the beginning of January I was uploading videos like crazy, pretty much like every second day, but alas, time has caught up to me and I wasn't able to pump out videos as consistently as I'd like. But anyway, here we are, and today I'm here to talk to you about a system that has been working quite wonderfully for me, and that is daily logging. And I'd really like to share what that is with you. It's not a new concept, it's not a new thing. I've seen people daily log in their own planners, but pretty much daily logging is just a term that I like to use to describe the system I've implemented in this Hobonichi weeks. It's just something that involves logging in or tracking certain data every day. It's very similar to habit tracking, but it captures other types of data too, but in a more consolidated and streamlined manner. Yeah, so I think it's probably going to be easier for me to show it than explain it. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is this week. As you can see, it's being neatly divided into columns and rows. So each column is for a different sort of data information that I want to track. And obviously each row is for every day. Okay, so starting with this column, here I like to track any events or occasions that is positively or negatively affecting my mood. And on this column here, I like to track what I've eaten for that day. In this column here, I like to track my sleep. So what time I slept, what time I woke up, how good my sleep was. And I also like to track my mood for that day or any significant emotion that I'm feeling. I experience a lot of intense emotions. Sometimes I have another sticker here for my headaches because I get migraines as well. I prefer to use stickers than words because stickers for me represent a lot better what I'm feeling that day rather than words, and they kind of just pop out when I'm looking back. And and I track down the days that I take my vitamins. And here for this column, it's separated into three actually, 3 rows for each day. I've got my morning activity and evening, and what I like to write down here is my observations or thoughts. So by that I mean is in the morning I write down my first observation for that day, for that morning. Man, I'm going in circles, I'm so sorry. And in the evening I do the same. So before I go to bed, I write down any last thoughts or any emotions that I'm sleeping in. Like sometimes I'll go to bed a bit upset or a bit angry, and I'll just write that down, and I'll just quickly write down a line as to why I'm feeling that way. And in the morning, sometimes I wake up with a headache or I wake up with really itchy hands, and I just like to write that down. Or there are other days when, I just wake up in the wrong side of the bed, like I just wake up grumpy. And sometimes that's because my sleep was really bad, or I ate something really not good for my stomach or energy the day before. So it's interesting to see how these all correlate. And for the activity, I just pretty much write down any activity that I did for that day. It could just be like a walk with my dog or some time on the treadmill or yoga. I just like to, because my activity for every day is not really consistent. Sometimes it could be different. Sometimes they're the same, but I like to see what I did do. And for this column, I track down my indulgences. So my indulgences pretty much is anything that I consume, like anything that I buy or eat or drink to improve my mood for the day. So guilty pleasures pretty much. So what have I done that day to make me a little bit happier? And I haven't been doing it recently, but I also use these dot stickers. There's 3 things that I like to use these dots for. So if I did something good for my spirit, so like any spiritual practice like meditation or reading my devotions or praying, I just put this little dot in here just to signify that I did do something about that. The second thing that I like to track with these dots is if I've kept a promise that I've made myself for that day. In short, it's like what was one thing that I wanted to do for that day that I did do. And if I did do that, I put down a dot for that. And the last thing is just to signify if I did an activity that day. So for example, on Monday I did do something, so I'll just quickly do that now. So Monday I did like that. But anyway, that's how I daily log. And now I'd like to move on to why I prefer to daily log than using habit trackers. Okay, reason number 1 as to why I love daily logging. It is an easy and quick habit to adapt. First of all, I've only got this much space to work with. So I'm not like long form journaling. It's literally 1 line for each of these and maybe less. Sometimes it's like, 1 word. So it's super easy and it's super fun to adapt and it's super helpful. And the second reason why I love it is that it's a habit that supports the development of other habits. Similar to crossing boxes, when I look back for the day before, I can see certain information being filled out, and that makes me want to continue the action of filling those things out. So for example, when I take my vitamin D, when I log in the next day, I just remember, I need to take my vitamin D, so I just write D as I take my vitamin D. And same with like the activity. I like to make sure that I'm writing something every day, so I want to do something that's worth writing down. So it's pretty cool. It's fun. The third reason why I love daily logging is that it's a lot more fun than habit tracking, because I'm always writing and I love writing, and there's always something to write about, which is good. Fourth reason is that it allows me to experiment with several different layouts. So this is what I've come up with for this week, but for the previous weeks it's been looking really different. So this is how it all began, and as you can see, I'm pretty much logging in the same or similar things, but just in different layouts. And I think as it evolves, I've kind of come to understand how I like my layouts, and I've come to really like the way that this one is laid out. But maybe next month or even next week I get bored of this layout, I can always find a different way to lay out differently to make it fun and fresh. Another reason why I prefer doing this is that it's really interesting to look back on and see trends. It's very different feeling looking back than looking back at habit tracking. So for example, if I look back in October of last year, I used to track things that made me happy or things that I did that day, and I don't know, it's boring. The numbers don't mean anything to me. These doesn't really make sense. I don't have any information, like further information on these X's, but I much prefer this way. That leads me to the next reason why I love this, is that it provides me with qualitative data rather than quantitative data. I like knowing exactly what is ticking or what is not ticking, or exactly what is affecting me, rather than crosses. And next reason as to why I love it is that it is based on positive reinforcement. Now, habit trackers have there's this huge thing with habit trackers that make me feel really discouraged, actually. When I see that I'm not even crossing them, I kind of just give up on them. I think perfect example of it is, I think it was December last year. I set out a really nice tracker, but I didn't even fill out. Look at that. I crossed out once. I'm not interested in crossing out things, I guess. I really like to be in it. And another thing is that sometimes I forget what type of habits I'm even tracking. Whereas this one, it's the same every day and I'm writing out the same things. So yeah, this one is a lot more fun. And overall, it provides me a great overview of my mental, emotional, and physical states. Yeah, I just really enjoy this. What more can I say? I think I've blabbered on enough. And another thing that I really love about this is that it's low maintenance. As I said before, there's not a lot of space that I'm working with, so I'm not taking like a big chunk of my time doing this. I just set it up at the end of each week, and it's pretty much just lines and a little bit of this, but it doesn't take a long time. And if, for some reason I'm not feeling it that week, I kind of just track significant things for that day. It's very simple, and the form factor of the Hobo Weeks is so easy and nice to work with, and everything about this is just so enjoyable. I just really, really love how I'm using this at the moment, and I'm glad that I'm making it work for me, because sometimes being in my bullet journal, it can get a bit, it can get a bit, not overwhelming, but sometimes I don't even want to be in here. I don't want to write down tasks. I don't want to check out tasks. I don't want to long form journal. Sometimes I just don't want to be here when I'm not feeling it. So having this small thing where I can just check in with myself every day in a non-pressure or intimidating manner is like really, really cool for me. So if I strip back with everything and just keep one, I'd love to just keep this. It's been really good for me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of made sense how I've been using my Hobo Weeks. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comments below, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye.